So you got a new Epson P900 printer and you're wanting to know how to take care of it. And maybe you have a kitty friend who lives with you. Well, first tip is to cover your printer with a blanket or a sheet, a towel, something that will keep all of the cat hair off of this. Because your cat will probably be climbing around on here, but underneath it, your printer will be safe and it won't get hair inside of it. Next thing you need is a Swiffer or some other way to dust this. You don't want to spray dusting chemicals on top of your printer, but you do want to keep the dust and hair off of the top of it. And this printer in particular, it has a clear top on here and it gets lots of dust on it. And so I like to clean this off with my Swiffer just prior to ever even turning it on. This is just kind of best practices because see, when you look down inside of here, you don't want any of that hair to get down in here. Because if it gets in there, it's going to clog up your print head, it's going to make your prints look bad, and ultimately it's going to cause you a lot of extra work when you try to get that hair out of there, or dust, or anything else that gets in there. And that's why I like to prepare ahead of time and just dust everything off before I turn it on every time. Last things you want to make sure to keep dust and hair off of are just this bottom tray where the paper comes out on, and then your sheet feeder area. You can see how I have some white marks built up on there. This happens over time if you put stacks and stacks of paper in there, but if you just use your Swiffer, you can get rid of that, and it just helps keep everything neat and tidy. Now, what you do not want to do is shove this Swiffer way down in there or open this area up and Swiffer anything inside of there. On my other printer, when I damaged the print head and then I had to have a support tech from Epson come out and service it for me, they told me that I needed to make sure that all of my printers were hooked up to the electricity through a surge protector. So this is super important. This Belkin surge protector is a really good one. I will link it in the description if you would like one. Now for the ink, you only want to use Epson ink in your printer. And here's why. If you use any of the aftermarket inks, they are cheaper. Some of them may work in the printer like one cartridge because these things come with chips in them. And the chips are read by the computer, whatever is going on in here in the printer, and it recognizes these things. And so if they are aftermarket cartridges, you can put one in there, but after you take that out, you'll never be able to put one in there again. And some people have tried to figure out ways to hack the ink feeding systems on these. I would suggest not to do any of that. Just use genuine Epson ink. This stuff is expensive, but it is really, really good. It makes archival prints, which is so important because you want your prints to be beautiful, bold colors and not fade for at least the lifetime of the person who purchases it, if not generations after that. So that's why you want to use all archival ink. So what I like to do whenever I'm changing the ink, usually what will happen is it'll tell you on the screen that it is run out of ink. It will stop after it's printing and tell you. Then you can just lift this up. If you are changing the ink cartridge out, what you want to do is you want to figure out which one it is. It'll tell you on the screen. And then you just shake this several times. You don't have to go crazy on it. You don't have to shake it like 100 times, but you do want to shake it a pretty good amount just to make sure that the ink is all mixed up in there. Like, let's say 10 really good shakes. And then you install it. Now, I'm not going to show you exactly how to install an ink cartridge in this video because none of my inks need to be replaced at this time, but it's very easy. You just push in on the cartridge, take it out, swap it with the other one, push it in, you'll hear it click, and you're good to go. You close the lid, and then it will start recognizing the new ink, and then you'll be able to start printing. Next, it's important to use your printer regularly. I would say at least once a week, make a print on there. And if you're not printing artwork once a week, like let's say you don't want to waste the ink and the paper to print something that you don't need, the great thing that you can do, and you can just do this using all of the features on the printer, is just run a test print through there. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. So you stick your paper in. Just use the cheapest paper, like copy paper, something that's not costing you a lot of money. And then we're here at the menu, and we go over here to maintenance and print head nozzle check. And it says insert the paper. We already did that, and we just press start. And then it's going to print a nice little nozzle check on here. It's a relatively quick process to do, and you'll be able to see exactly how all of the print heads are operating. It's not that you need to check the print heads on a regular basis, but this is really good for just getting a little bit of ink to go through all of the print heads. If you do this once a week, you won't have to worry about your ink getting clogged up from not using the printer. Because that's one of the worst things about these printers, is if you just let them sit. Like, let's say you set it there for 2 or 3 months and don't use it. When you start that back up again, you're going to have to do several deep cleanings of the print head, and that's going to waste a lot of ink. You don't want to waste ink because ink is super expensive. And it's way cheaper to once a week print one of these when you're not using it. I mean, see how little the amount of ink is on here? This is a lot less ink than it's going to cost you if you're having to do deep cleanings after 2 or 3 months of just letting it sit there. Plus, you get to see this nice little graph, and it shows that the ink is all coming out of everything properly. Now, let's say it doesn't look like this, like there are holes, like white holes in there. That means you need to do another cleaning. And you can do that. You can see what they look like here. It gives you an example. And so you can say, well, mine all looked like this, so I'm going to select this one. But if yours had little breaks in them, you would select this and just follow the prompts on there, and it will run a cleaning for you. All right, well, if you found this video helpful, and if you would like to learn the best paper to use in your Epson P900 printer to make art prints and save the most money, watch this video. All right, thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Mister, that thing's gross. How much dust is on that? He doesn't care.